This problem says that the area of a parallelogram is given by the formula area is equal to base times height. Now the area of this parallelogram is 45 square units. And we can see that the base and the height are given. In this case, the base is given as 2x plus 1, and the height is x plus 1. And they want us to figure out what the actual base and the height are. Well, we'll take advantage of the formula area, or base times height is equal to area, and we'll plug in the things that we are given for the base, the height, and the area. And so we take the base, which was 2x plus 1, times the height, which is x plus 1, is equal to the area, which is given here as 45. So now we're just have to figure out how to solve that equation. Well, in order to do that, we'll multiply these two things together. We'll see that we're going to have a quadratic equation, so then we'll solve that quadratic equation. So we multiply these two things together using the FOIL method. So remember, we take this 2x times the x and get 2x squared, and 2x times 1, which is 2x. Then we take the 1 times x and get x, and 1 times 1 is 1, and that's still equal to 45. And we combine the terms in the middle, we get 2x squared plus 3x plus 1 is equal to 45. Alright, now it's a quadratic equation. In order to solve a quadratic equation, we have to set it equal to 0. So let's subtract 45 from both sides. And when we do that, we get 2x squared plus 3x minus 44, right? We just did this. We said minus 45 on this side, minus 45 on that side, and 1 minus 45 gives us a negative 44. And now we have that equal to 0. So we'll solve this quadratic equation using factoring. We'll try the trial and error method. I generally will give that a try. If I run into too much trouble, then I might do the factor by grouping, but trial and error usually works. And remember to do that, we start with the 2x squared. We know that this times this has to be 2x squared, so we don't have too much choice. We put a 2x times an x to give us 2x squared. Then we move to this last term. That's a negative 44. We know that the product of this times this has to be a negative 44. We don't have to worry about the middle term. Once we put some numbers here, we can check to see if we get this middle term. So let's try 11 and 4 and plus and minus, because a positive 11 times a negative 4 is a negative 44. Now, do we have the term we want in the middle? Is that going to be a 3x in the middle? Well, we already know that 2x times x is 2x squared, and we know that 11 times negative 4 is negative 44. So I'm really just checking to see if I get 3x when I multiply this times this, which is 11x, times this, which is negative 8x. When I add those two together, I need to get the 3x, and 11x minus 8x, yep, we do get the 3x, so that's the right factorization. So we set each of these factors equal to 0 and solve. 2x plus 11 is equal to 0, and x minus 4, set that equal to 0. And when we do that, we find that, well, here we're going to subtract 11 from both sides. So if 2x is equal to a negative 11, so x is equal to a negative 11 halves. And over here, add 4 to both sides, so we get x is equal to 4. Alright, now how is this helping us solve the original problem, which was what's the base and the height? Well, the base is 2x plus 1, and the height is x plus 1, so we would take these values of x and plug them in. Well, if we plug in a negative 11 halves into the base, so 2x plus 1 was the base. If you plug in a negative 11 halves into this, you're going to run into some trouble. You're going to get 2 times a negative 11 halves plus 1. The 2's will cancel, and you get a negative 11 plus 1, which is negative 10. Now, why is that a problem? You can't have a negative length, and the length of the base would be a negative 10 if this x equaled negative 11/2 was used. So we really end up throwing this out because it would give us a negative base. So then we're left only with this x equals 4. So if x is 4, the base, which again is 2x plus 1, would turn into 2 times 4 plus 1, putting this x equals 4 into the 2x plus 1. So we get 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is equal to 9. So the base is 9 units, and the height, remember the height was given as, back up to our picture, as just x plus 1. So that means the height would be, it's x plus 1, so we put in 4, because that's what x is. So the height would be 5. So the height is 5, the base is 9.